Okay, so now I'm going to import the deployment.dtsx package using the file system for storage using Management Studio. So I'm logged in to Integration Services here using Management Studio. Again, it's my local instance of SQL Server. And I'm going to expand the stored packages. In this case, I'm going to use the file system. So I'll go ahead and expand that. So I'll right-click on the file system node and select Import Package. And that opens up this Import Package dialog box. So I want the package location to be the file system, but I can select SQL Server or SSIS Package Store. And then I'm going to use the Browse button here to navigate to the package. All right, so it's under Sample Files, Packages, Deployment, Deployment, and Deployment.dtsx. Okay, I'm going to give the package a slightly different name because I also already have a deployment package there. So I'll call it Deploy via SSMS. Okay, and I'll accept the default protection level. And click on OK. And that's all I need to do to import the package. Notice it doesn't appear here, so I have to refresh that, as I commonly need to with Object Explorer. And there's that package. It's the same as this deployment package, but I gave it a different name, and I can execute it separately. All right, so I'll go ahead and right-click on it and select Run Package. And that opens up the Execute Package utility. And you can use this utility to set various options, including configuration settings, and then run the package. Now, because I imported the package using Management Studio, it didn't import the configuration file. But I can add it now. So I'll select Configurations and click on the Add button, and then I can navigate to that configuration file. So it's under Sample Files, Packages, Deployment, Deployment, and it's right there. Okay, so now I'll use the configuration file. I can select Execute. I get the dialog box that I expected, all of the dialog boxes, and then I can look at the progress and see what happened. And if anything goes wrong, I'll get some sort of basic error information about problems that it encountered. Now I can execute any package listed in the Integration Services Object Explorer in that same way, not just those imported using Management Studio. You may have to do a bit more work to execute the package, but it does provide a lot of options. You can install an Integration Services project either to the file system or to SQL Server. Another option is SSIS Catalog, but that's a separate possibility. As with most things in life, each option, the file system or SQL Server, has both pros and cons. Which option is best depends on what functionality is most important to you. And it often is not a black and white decision. You usually have to deal with shades of gray. So there's several issues to consider. The first is availability. To use a package stored in the file system, Windows needs to be running. Well, okay, that's sort of a given. To use a package stored in SQL Server, the database server has to be up and running as well. If SQL Server isn't running, you can't get at the packages in the MSDB database to run them. But you probably also can't access the databases that you're reading data from and writing to. So the issue of availability is probably a toss-up, since if required resources are not available, you're not going to run packages anyway. But I had to bring it up. Next issue is performance. Once a package is loaded and execution begins, it executes within the Integration Services service, no matter where it's stored, either the file system or SQL Server. So the differences are in load times, which usually are a small portion of the overall execution time for a package, especially if the package is large, complex, and slow. Unless your environment has huge differences accessing file system and database objects, Performance is probably also a toss-up. Ease of deployment, another consideration. It's relatively easy to deploy a package using the file system. Just copy it over. If any single file changes, you can overwrite the old version of the file. You can also use text file comparison utilities to see what's different among various versions of a package. When you use the SQL Server storage option and need to update a file, you have to either rerun the package installation wizard, use Management Studio, or use the dtutil.exe utility. File system deployment wins this round. Backup and recovery. When you deploy to SQL Server, you can hook into SQL Server support for backing up databases. If you back up MSDB, you back up your packages, and any new packages automatically get backed up as well. But this doesn't back up any file dependencies stored in the file system. If you need to recover a package, your only option is to restore the entire MSDB database, which could cause problems. In the file system, you have to use your server backup software to archive the packages and the support files, and make sure the backup operator includes the files. But you can restore individual files or projects very easily. Which technique gets the nod here depends a lot on your database and file system backup strategies. Then another consideration is security. When you deploy to SQL Server, you can hook into its native security for database objects, assigning packages to roles that have access to each package, and assign users to those roles. Best of all, you can opt to encrypt packages stored in MSDB, giving you another level of security. In the file system, you have to carefully assign permissions to users or roles for either the various package directories or to individual files. Both Windows and SQL Server have robust security, but how you go about securing resources is very different between the two. You may be more comfortable with one scheme or the other. All right, so as you can see, there's really no clear-cut benefit of storing packages in the file system or SQL Server. There are a number of issues to consider, and not everyone will consider the same set of issues important. At the end of the day, you need to figure out the package storage location that works best for you. Use these considerations and try out all the options. This should be part of a regular process of package lifecycle management, because doing things differently every time can lead to maintenance nightmares and chaos. Life is just complicated enough. And because even this isn't complicated enough, there's another option in newer versions of integration services called the SSIS catalog. But I'm not talking about that option here within this part of the course. Now, you may need to redeploy integration services packages when changes occur. You may need to change the control flow to perform new steps, change the source or destination for data, or apply new transformations. You may have to change support files or update Excel sheets that contain static lookup tables. The list of possible changes is nearly unlimited. An important question to ask when redeploying packages is whether it's necessary to redeploy everything in the integration services project. Redeploying everything may introduce new errors. Redeploying entire packages means going back through the package installation wizard, specifying where to deploy the package, and modifying configuration settings again. A lot of the process is automated, but there are several manual steps. And if you're redeploying a package you developed 2 years ago, how fresh is your memory of what needs to be done? So you'll need to determine what changed in the project. Did some of the supporting files change? Did code within the package change? If only code within the package changed, then you need to copy the updated DTSX package file to the deployment location. Now, if you determine that you need to redeploy the entire project because of changes such as the addition of connection strings, you'll need to perform several steps to redeploy the project. You'll need to update the package, so you make the necessary changes to the package in SQL Server Data Tools. Then rebuild the project, and as part of that, you create a new deployment utility. You need to verify that the Allow Configuration Changes option is set appropriately and determine whether the setting should remain as is. Allowing changes may no longer be appropriate, for example, if the package has become more complex. And then you copy the deployment folder to the target computer. Just like when you initially deployed the project, you'll need to copy the deployment folder to the target server. Should you copy it to a new location or overwrite the existing files. And then rerun the package installation wizard. Once again, you double-click the deployment manifest file to start the wizard, and then follow the steps through to complete deployment. Another option is to redeploy the package using Management Studio. When you right-click a package name in the Stored Packages section of Object Explorer, when connected to integration services, there's an Upgrade Packages option on the pop-up menu. This launches the SSIS Package Upgrade Wizard, which steps you through the process. But like importing packages using Management Studio, this wizard only upgrades packages, not configuration and file dependencies. You'll have to handle those changes manually.